Dirty Talks.
See it? We're on. No, it's like now it's 6 seconds.
All righty. Skaters and non-skaters alike, this is Dirty Deborah Harry, and I am here with the lovely and talented Miss Roller Rinks.
That's me.
Yes, and you are my what?
I like to call myself Dirty's spirited sidekick.
There we go.
Or I'm your weighted blanket.
Yeah, there we go. I like it. You know, we're just going to come up with all sorts of terms from you. But I'm just so happy you're here with me.
It's weird. We switched places.
Yeah.
And this is weird over here.
Now I'm looking over at this so you guys get a full shot, if you're watching this on video, of our other profiles. Other sides. But listen, I'm super excited you're here. And it was funny because when we decided to do this podcast, it's called Dirty Talks. We decided to do this because I tend to talk a lot in my videos on Dirty School of Skate YouTube channel. Talk a lot. I get into these rants about all sorts of things skating and otherwise relating to skating. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we got to do a podcast. And I said, yeah. And she wanted me to do it by myself. And I said, no. When I do things like this, I grab people and make them do it with me. One thing I'm really good at is instigating things and then creating stuff and then pulling people along with me. I feel like I've always been a person who will break down a door and then get all my friends inside. Like,
I don't know.
Like literally and figuratively.
Were you like the popular kid on the playground, like starting the big game of like Foursquare?
Okay.
And, like, bossing everyone around.
I don't like to think of it as popular. I'm just saying natural leader, yes. And includer of all, because if there's one thing that I did not stand for, and I'm telling you, is leaving people out. Dude, never. Like when you got to pick teams. I don't even know if kids do that anymore, but you're picking a team. Dude, I'd pick all those kids that weren't going to be picked. Dude, I didn't mind. I was in it for the fight. Like, we come together.
I love that.
Right?
I love that. And that kind of segues beautifully into what you wanted to talk about today, which is third places.
Third places.
Because that is where your people are, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, people, I'm fussing.
It's
I'm
okay.
trying to
It's okay.
get it so you can look at me without looking behind you.
Yeah. So we're going to talk today about a concept called third places. And not like, a couple of podcasts ago we talked about me being a loser.
She's not.
But there's this, she was like, we're going to talk about third places. Why third? Like you getting third? I'd be like, girl, I wasn't even trying to get third place. Remember, I was trying not to. I need to settle in around 10th place to be comfortable. And then that way I'd have no more further obligations in my competitive skating career. I could just get my 10th place, go out with my head up high and go hit the pool. Okay. So the idea though, the concept of third places is that in society, you have your first place, which would be your home, your second place, which would either be like work or school, and then you have a third place. Hopefully you have a third place. Third place would be somewhere that you hang out and organically interact with other people, hopefully in a positive manner, and hopefully in a manner that wouldn't realistically cost you a ton of money to be able to be involved in. Now, a lot of people in the past were able to find their third places fairly easily, right? So people would have church, for instance, and I think we can all agree that the attendance for traditional church has probably gone down significantly, right? A lot of times people had like things like coffee houses, which I'm sure you remember, like, I like to say, I'm sorry, but we're not talking Starbucks. There used to be real coffee houses.
Like the version of Cheers, but coffee.
Oh, God, yeah. I worked at one. I worked for Dietrich Coffee for a long time.
Well, and bars.
Yes.
Like you would frequent the same bar after work and the same
Right. So you would see the same people, or you would organically meet new people. You could go there by yourself. But the difference, we're talking like, so a coffee house that really used to be popular and used to exist was different from your Starbucks model, because when you go into Starbucks, it's really like full capitalism. Give me all your money, turn around, go, don't use the bathroom. Where like the coffee houses I grew up with were, oh my God, stay for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like buy one cup
from
of coffee.
Mel's Diner. She'd come up and make sure your coffee was always full in her Southern accent.
I loved it. And me working there was amazing because I would love.
You worked at Mel's Diner?
No, I wish I worked at Mel's Diner. I tell you, when I was growing up, they asked me like, "What do you want to be?" And later on, I came to the idea that I need to be a roller skating teacher. But prior to that, I was like, I want to be a waitress or a secretary. Because I used to watch those waitresses wiping down that table, being sassy to customers, and I wanted that. But with the coffee house, we loved it when people hung out all day. We had locals there, just like at the skating rink. You know, they hung out all the time. So
when I was in high school, we hung out at Jack in a Box parking lot.
Oh my God, dude! When I
was that a third place?
Yes. You know what? One of my third places was the 7-Eleven down the street. Now this is back in the day when 7-Eleven, when they wore the uniforms with the little 7-Eleven logo all over them.
I'm sorry, but that is the best color scheme ever.
Right? So they wore those, and it had a pinball machine in it. Not like I wasn't getting enough of that pinball action at the roller rink, but we would hang out there. And then when my mom would come up, like randomly, you'd be with the neighborhood kids hanging outside, or, you know, we'd hide from my mom because the last thing she wants you to do is hanging out at the 7-Eleven. But they say now when third places are disappearing and they're being replaced, like you look at the lack of bowling alleys, obviously the lack of roller rinks, all the roller rinks that have been closed. And there's two problems. When you start closing these establishments, they don't get replaced by a like establishment. It's not like a roller rink gets closed down and then a new one pops up and you're like, look, it's bigger and better.
Out here in California, it's all more homes and on top of each other. They're built
and
really
they're
close
and they're
together.
affordable homes, $850,000. Thank you. So they say that when they replace them, they're replacing them, even if they do it with like a shopping center and different things. It's really a shopping center that is designed to buy my stuff, go ahead, leave. Don't hang out. In the rare instances, they're making public spaces, but it's really consumer driven. Now, the other part that happens is when third places start to be lost. Again, bowling alleys, roller rinks, churches, any kind of coffee houses, these places you can really hang out. The only third place that tends to survive is the local bar. And that is not necessarily 100% positive.
No, certainly it's
right?
You know, gearing to unhealthy habits.
Yes.
Because when you go to a bar, you generally like
I
to
like
drink.
that. The next time I go to a bar, I'm going to say hello to everyone. And I'm like, I'm just here gearing up for my unhealthy habits. I'm not here to drink, gearing up unhealthy habits, people. So where are we at with that? Like, is in your town where you live, is your third place, is it really only a bar? Or do you have any third places left? I mean, where are people going? So how does this relate to roller skating? You think roller skating for me, absolutely the most amazing third place ever. And sometimes I really wished it was like, you know, my second place for sure. Sometimes even my first. Organically meeting people, the cost is relatively low, right? And then you're organically meeting people doing something that's healthy, right? Mm-hmm.
Same interests.
Yes.
And then you're also doing a movement, or you're doing something, in this case, roller skating, but you're not so out of breath that you can't have a conversation and socialize. And then the dancing movement, that makes people more social.
That's true. When you're saying about it,
you're talking about the roller rink.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Well, we could do that at a bar too, I guess.
Well,
but when you're talking about not getting out of breath, I love that because when you're skating, when you think about doing other sports, there are other sports that are collective, but you need all the other people to do the sport. So like, let's say if you're going to play basketball, you're going to need at least a couple other people to fully play, right? There's a lot. I really respect the trash talking in basketball, by the way. I feel like that kind of communication really bonds people. And there's somewhat of a commonality with roller skating in that usually you're hyping other people up, though. You're not trash talking them. You're skating around telling other people how great they are and what they're doing. They're looking really good. And then you do that for years. And then you realize, just like basketball, you don't know that person's name.
Or you make names up.
No, you make names up in the same way.
Yeah.
You're like blue skates. There's blue skates. Remember we go to the skate park? When we go to the skate park, the same thing.
Start.
There's this guy named Long Start.
Shout out to Long Start.
Long Start, you were the man. Big bowl in the back of Vans, and he couldn't just roll into it all cool. He had to take like a 50-foot running start. So all the guys, us, we would have to like part the ways because Long Start's gonna do his thing, but he's coming back like 90 miles an hour, 50 feet away. His name was just Long Start. God knows what his name was. But here's
that guy.
I know. Long Start was the best. Okay, so we don't know anyone's names. It's the same thing. But here's the other deal. I have been seeing a obvious resurgence or creation or new of all the pop-up roller rinks that are happening. So these are taking public spaces and saying, why not make a roller rink right here? I just posted one on Instagram that was Secret Roller Disco. Shout out to these people. Right. They had their video up and I reposted it and I loved it because what they did was they took space from
the one in the mall.
The mall. Dude, malls used to be third places.
Yep. Like for sure.
Oh, the mall. The mall.
Like, oh my God.
Your mom would literally, if you didn't take the bus or walk there, you got dropped off there. Mm-hmm. And you could be there for like, I don't know, 8 hours.
Scamming.
Right? Mm-hmm. The 70s and 80s were a beautiful time for no babysitters. You didn't need them. You didn't need childcare. You dropped your child off at public spaces and left them there for hours. As long as they were in a group, right? You had your mall group.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing people that are being forward thinking and seeing a place and saying, could that possibly be a roller rink? Could that serve as a third place for people who are really seeking that? So we look at like Pigeon's roller rink. You guys have seen some of my videos there.
Mm-hmm. Long Beach.
Amazing third place. Obviously, my family's roller rink that has been established since 1976, that has been a third place for generations. But as we lose traditional spaces, what other spaces can turn into third place roller rinks, right?
Yeah, and I think the craving for it is so reflective of humanity. We like to be with like-minded people, and I think we've been isolated from each other. And even before, you know what, we were slowly drift. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it because YouTube, I don't know. The Ann-Pay-emic Day.
That when we got put on detention.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that when we were on detention? And I kind of liked it.
Ann-Pay-emic Day.
She's having a stroke.
That's Pig Latin, dirty. I learned it at the
sorry,
mall.
I was about
in 85.
You realize that's like in just a couple of years, the 80s will be 50 years ago.
Well, we're 50-year-old broads. So.
What? Never.
Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. But
well, you were speaking Pig Latin and you threw me off there for
I was
a
just
hot
saying,
second,
even before that period of time where we were even more isolated, I think like you said, the consumerism, the isolation. Look, you don't have to call people anymore. You text them, you email, you have checkout stands where you don't talk to the person anymore. You check yourself out, right?
Yeah.
So we are slowly moving as a people into this isolated mentality. And I think we hit a breaking point. And like everyone's going, I feel so alone. I want to be with people. I want to hear people, know people.
Yeah.
I mean, we are designed to be social.
Yes.
And that's why I think with the surge of roller skating, and then, like you said, you guys roller skate down at the basketball court.
Yeah. And
that is
because
organic
basketball players
place.
and roller skaters, we're like kindred spirits.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, you guys all respect each other. If the
No,
basketball
they're
guys
great.
want a game, or girls.
They're great.
Anyone.
It just, I think that when I posted this Instagram post about this secret roller disco, so many people responded to it. And I was like, and they were like, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do this. And that was like the real thing. Boy, I wish someone would do it here. I wish someone would do it there. And what I wanted to say is, do it. Mm-hmm. Listen, when these pop-up roller rinks have been going on, it just started with someone's desire to do it. And then they talked to enough people where you connect with the right person that can take it to the next step. So it's like, let's say it's a city space, somewhere public within your town or your city or whatever. You've got to end up talking to the right person within that city structure who says, yeah, I actually know the next person to talk to and the next person to make something like that happen. I think that a lot of times we always think, I don't have enough money to do that. I can't open up my own roller rink. No one can open up their own roller rink. Let me just tell you right there. A traditional roller rink would be astronomically expensive. I may be biased because I live in Southern California where everything's unaffordable. But maybe in some other places, there may be a situation where there's a former roller rink that can be reopened or something like that. But we got to really look for alternative spaces for skating. And again, if it's a public space, we're got to just talk to the right people within the city. And listen, when I skated roller derby, we were shut out almost entirely by roller rinks. My own family has roller rink. We couldn't skate roller derby there. So roller derby girls were like, we don't care. We'll go skate outside. We'll commandeer a parking lot. We'll go to hockey rinks. I mean, I'm telling you, hockey rinks weren't like, please come. People who don't play hockey and skate like freaks, please come. They weren't into it. But we knocked on enough doors and we pled our case to enough landlords over and over again, and we made it happen over and over again because it was not uncommon for us to lose our spaces. So roller derby girls out there, you know what I'm talking about. You get your spot. We had a bank track up in Santa Ana, California. Amazing. We would tiptoe around the landlord all the time. Please, just one more month, And of course we lost the space, and then, you got to go somewhere else, and you're just bouncing around like a tenant just trying to make rent from place to place. But I truly believe with the amount of people that we have in skating now, that it doesn't matter if you feel like I'm a person who can get things done, like I have access and I have money and I have this and that. Sometimes it doesn't take that person. Sometimes it just takes the exact opposite, a person who's looking at it differently and saying, wait a minute, I actually have a contact from that person in that church and they have that big hall that's rarely used. Mm-hmm. Or there's a whatever kind of a public space or face that we need a decent sized space, right? But one other thing people were saying about that.
And as flat
as
possible ground.
Possible, but if it has built-in ramps, I'm in. Like
well,
that.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
can we take the whole
place.
mall? Because I want to skate through an entire abandoned mall.
Oh, man.
I'll be the first one with a big old broom.
During the Anpe-Emic day, when we like hit up the totally run down golf course.
Yes.
That was magical. There were hills, and we were skating in like what used to be little ponds.
So right next to Fountain Valley Skating Center was Boomers, and Boomers. God,
boom.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Boomers. It was right next to us. I grew up there, just going everywhere over there. So they had bumper boats and miniature golf and Grand Prix mini cars and all that. And they abandoned the place during the pandemic. They abandoned
Dirty,
it.
you have to say Anpe-Emic day.
They don't like that word? Someone don't like that word? Well, you know, when
We're gonna find out.
When we were
Let's
on
see if we
long-term detention, we just went behind the roller rink because that's how we could gain access to a site that was formerly booming Boomers. And we got back there and we skated through some rough stuff, the batting cages. There's a bunch of videos. It's super funny. We skated. Remember the batting cages? That was great with the balls and like we were...
Yeah, it was like
it was dangerous.
Fantastic.
It was amazing.
It was.
The cop showed up.
It was fine.
We were like little kids, like the cops are here, run.
50-year-olds. Like,
I know. And I'm like, they ain't gonna arrest us. But then I was like, I don't know, maybe they will. But then I remember you. I'm
then
like,
there was like
don't stop filming. The cops are here.
Didn't it like a crack house catch on fire?
Okay, so in the Boomers, where you would check in to go to Boomers, there was some gentlemen in there doing some experimental chemistry in an effort to create their own special sauce to help them relieve, I don't know, the pain that they felt. Okay, they were cooking meth. Anyway, the place caught on fire. And we were outside filming a video. And I was like, whatever you do not stop filming. Because...
Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
Firemen,
and sad, and
fire trucks, crackheads, fire, Boomers.
and roller skates.
That all goes together, and that's my third place. My favorite third place was a crack house at Boomers. Now, you know what I mean. I think what I really want to try to say here is that the importance of third places cannot be denied, and I want to inspire people to help us create roller skating third places. I want to say two things. Oftentimes, because my family has a roller rink, when I teach other places and I skate other places, I will get people who are like, I'm surprised you're here. I'm surprised you're teaching here. And I said, why wouldn't I? High tide raises all boats. My job, when I find out that something is coming up in skating, my job, I didn't sign up for this job. It just really feel like it's my job to reach out to those people and ask them how I can help. How can I help? How can I help you raise awareness of what you are doing here? Because I believe high tide raises all boats. It's not competition between skating places. All we're going to do is create more skaters. Mm-hmm. More skaters need more places to skate.
And more skaters means more happy people.
But yes. And if your skating place is really far, so let's say our roller rink could be an hour away from the skater, but something else pops up that's a half an hour away from them, I'm happy for them. I'm not saying, it's a competition for us. No, I say that's fantastic. More skaters. It's just creating more skaters. So
yeah, I really don't. In the long run, I feel like it generates more business when you have more places popping up, because then more people are learning about it in different areas and talking. And anyway, I agree with you.
No, they are
competition.
And beyond like just having fun with skating,
it's supporting something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the connection. Skating, as I've said before, is inherently social.
Yeah.
And it's unique in that you can also just turn yourself off and just skate and not interact with people and not have it seem like, what the hell's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. You know, you can You can organically interact or you can turn it off. And when you're interacting, you are feeling a connection with so many different people. You can go to a skating place, a rink, an outdoor space, a mall, and you can go there by yourself or you can go with a group. And what I love when I see people come by themselves is I think, that takes a lot for a lot of people to go somewhere by themselves. Then they're not by themselves anymore once they come inside. And once they start skating with others, then they're no longer alone.
I mean, it's a prime example. Long start. Like when you would roll up at Van's outdoor skate park, you were alone and you would just roll in there. And generally it was older guys in the morning. And they embraced you and they became part of your third place. And then when you brought me along and introducing me to all the, here's Bird, this is Long Start, this is,
all the Brazilians.
They became our third place for a while. And it was a beautiful thing. And it was people that you wouldn't normally hang out with. But then if you were having an off day and you didn't feel chatty, you could just roll around in the bowl and nobody cared.
She's talking about Vans in Huntington Beach. So her and I would skate that. And I'm talking 6-7 years ago, maybe?
No, I know.
It's been a while. We were skating there regularly. And when she talks about all the old guys, shout out to all the old guys from Vans.
The Breakfast
used to
Club.
just hang out there. They're the best. We used to have so much fun, particularly the Brazilians. I'm going to say it. They're the best. We got... obviously, Birds and Eddie. Okay, you guys are great. Again, you could roll up by yourself. You go there a couple of times. People are cool. Now that's your third place. And I remember, going through a lot with people there that you would. Again, you don't necessarily know people's full names. You know their nickname. And then I remember when one of the guys passed away and just thinking someone from our third place has passed. And it's just remarkable that when you're spending time away from home and work, that you create relationships with, strangers at first. And then based on what you're doing, those common those common positive feelings are what really, really, really bonds you.
Wow, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Like you're all kind of in that, riding that high occasionally, whether it's at the rink or skate park, just accomplishing your mission.
Right.
And everyone's supportive because they know how that feels, that independent success.
Right. Like when you would finally, be trying to do something and then you finally nail it, some trick, and then people are clapping for you or someone's like, yeah, banging their board or doing whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I feel so good. I feel like I've really done something here.
Super supported. Yeah. And especially that's one of the things that I really appreciate about roller skaters is it doesn't matter where you are in your development. For me at the skate park, you could literally be learning to just do a basic plate stall. And, the shredder over here who can 360 out of a stall or whatever is like, yes. And they're thrilled for you because they've been there and they know the process and,
they know how hard it is and what it takes. And so they're stoked for you. And you could literally be a complete stranger that they haven't even talked to yet.
Yeah.
So I think the deal, really.
I know.
I mean, you're like, all right.
I can't tell you how organic that is. And that's so appealing to humans to be accepted into a group and to be accepted where you're at, regardless of how goofy you may feel like you look or, and that's an amazing feeling.
Well, I just want people out there.
Third places are definitely where it's at.
Let's create third places. Since the way that our system, our society has developed and the way the economy has developed, where it's seems like there's no reason to build something unless it makes money. Please, if you have access at all, if you have an idea of a place, start talking to people, because you're going to talk to enough people where you're going to key into the right person at the right time that's going to help you make that happen. And let me tell you this, you don't have to be the best skater out there. You could be a brand new beginner, and you may be the person who actually makes a space happen. And then you will reap the benefits later on, knowing that you created a space that people will call their third place. Okay? Like when people come into the rink and they're like, I just think this place is just like my second home. They always say, it's my second home, you know? And now we have a term for it. It's called the third place. I need you. There's so many of you out there that want this. Again, you don't have to. Let's just go back to the idea that you don't have to know what you're doing. Okay? We're gonna wrap it up with this. I always tell Adria, we don't know what we're doing. Okay, I never know what the hell I'm doing until I start doing it, and then it starts going down the right road. And you're like, I think I'm going down the right road. This feels good. Okay, I think I'm doing something. Oops, made a mistake. Not a crisis. Keep moving. All right? I want you guys to build third places, and I want them to be skating places. So, and also, let's really, really support it. Anyone out there who's built a third place, I mean, and there's big time third places now. You know, there's Flippers, there's Disco Oasis, there's these places that are really popping up big.
South Bay Skate
Kids. Let's say
admire that
Derby
family.
United. Special shout out to Derby United in San Diego, who Isabel Ringer created a roller derby space, and then we went on a 2-year detention, and she had to function it like a roller rink, and she did, and many people so grateful. So let's do this. Let's create skating places as third places, and talk to as many people as you can. And if you've ever said to yourself, I wish we had that in my town, make it happen. Okay? You can do this. I really, really think with enough desire and just talking to enough people and the right people, you can make this happen. Boom. We're going to cut it right there. You know why? Because my beauty light just fell. It's fell. So I'm the hideous hag you've seen.
Stop.
You guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening or watching. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes, we love you guys.
All right, and we'll see you next time. And I got to figure out a good sign up. But for right now, live and direct, we're coming from my husband's office in Long Beach, California. We'll see you next time.